Hello, everybody. You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show, where we cover internet startups, marketing, monetization, design. My name is Amul Patel. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm joined with.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton and I'm down here in San Diego.
So today, this is cup number 41. We've got an interview, a little bit different from our normal show. And today we're covering whatrunswhere.com and the founder, co-founder, Max Teitelbaum. Jeff, this guy was walking his first ad tech conference when he was 15 years old.
Yeah, it's an early age to get into it, but
Dude, that's incredible. He had his first startup at 15.
yeah, same age.
There was no internet when I was 15. Actually, there was, but nobody was really using it unless you're a research scientist in some university. Anyway, this is very, very exciting. We got him on the show. He's actually from Toronto, but I think his partner is in San Diego, right in your hometown, Jeff.
Yep. Just across the street.
So really briefly, his startup, What Runs Where, is basically a competitive intelligence app. So if you're a startup and you're looking to try to find a way to get your startup out there, this is the site to go to find out how your competitors are advertising, what sites they're advertising on, so you can probably try to match them or beat them, right, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to see how to use the tools to pull up all the reports and keywords and things that you want to look for that give you that extra edge that saves you a lot of time over the competition.
Yep. So the trick here, guys, is obviously if you've got a smaller startup or a mid-sized startup, resources are always constrained.
Keeps you lean. Yeah.
You always want to try to keep lean. You always want to try to kind of walk where basically let other people test. Let them see what works,
Right.
and then once you find what's working, what's working for them, you may want to just take some notes from what's working and try to modify it for your own needs. So without further ado, let's get into it, right, Jeff? All right,
Yep.
Max, thanks
Sounds
for joining us today. You run whatrunswhere.com. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into this, how long your product's been out there, your team size, are you profitable, all that kind of thing.
Sure. Well, I'm only actually half of the wonderful founding team of What Runs Where. My partner actually founded the company as our CEO. I'm a co-founder and I'm our COO. We've been around for about 2.5 years now, publicly. We do online advertising intelligence for display and mobile media. We've been profitable since the day that we launched. We are 11 people now, just about to be 12. A bit about me, I worked in performance marketing for about 5 years before my partner and I founded this company, and my partner did as well. And we identified a need for this type of intelligence where it wasn't available outside somebody like ComScore, where you would have to go and pay $20, $50, $100,000 for intelligence. So we developed something actually internally for us to use, and then realized that there was need for it in a consumer setting.
Okay. All right. So just really briefly for folks that don't know what performance marketing is, what exactly is performance marketing?
Sure. It's affiliate. So the best analogy I can give is, let's say a bank has a credit card, and they want more people to sign up and use their credit card because that makes them money. Okay. They would set a price for what that sign-up's worth to them, and then go to a bunch of people like myself and say, get people to come and sign up for my credit card. I will give you $5 every time somebody signs up.
Gotcha.
And then I would go out and actually get people to sign up for the card for them.
Okay. All right. Okay. So then you're basically trying to drive traffic to this specific offer. That's what performance marketing is all about.
And so this tool that you guys built for yourselves is doing so well that you're now targeting it to consumers?
Well, I mean, originally it started out, so for the first year, when it was just my partner and myself, it was built to use internally with our own campaigns and our own products. Mm-hmm. And then we sort of sat down one day and said, where does the business evolve from here? And we decided that there was no other tool like this out there at the time, and there was a huge need for a tool like this on the market. So at that point, we stopped doing all types of our sorts of marketing launches as a startup. So we don't actually, it would be hypocritical for us to market other people's products if we're giving advice to people on, and we can see all this data. It's just not ethical of us to do, so we don't do it. But we launched it as a startup for for other marketers and for businesses. And the response that we saw was so tremendous that we sort of doubled down and launched into 145%.
I got you. So the target market for this are small business owners, large business owners, brands, ad agencies, and possibly startups. And I really want to focus this interview towards startups. You know, let's say me and Jeff have just started a new photographer marketplace. Let's say we want to attract amateur photographers, pro photographers. We would use a tool like yours to try to get access to lots of photographers, right? Am I getting this right, Max?
No. What you use us for is when you're going to advertise in display media or online media, you would use us to look at what your established competitions are already doing. Okay. So you as a startup doesn't have to spend as much money to your marketing efforts testing what's working and finding out where to advertise to really get the most bang for your bucks.
Okay.
So we will show you that in a very efficient manner.
It's really intelligent.
Sorry, I
didn't mean to cut you off.
Exactly. No problem. I'm a mentor at Grow Lab in Vancouver. And you know, when you launch, and what we see with startups there is when you launch, you have a set amount of money. Yeah. And for startups, it differs. It could be 100,000, it could be $1 million, it could be $2 million, it could be $100 that your mom gave you. But you know, you have a set amount of money. And you don't know what you're doing with that money. Right. And something that's really detrimental to a startup is when you're building, when you're trying to figure out how to gain that initial traction. Is say, oh, I'm just going to advertise and throw money left and right and try and figure out what works. If you can sort of hone in at the beginning, you can take that money and put it back into growth capital to help build your business.
Gotcha. All right, so what you're saying is you want to be looking at maybe competitors in the same space, figure out what they're doing, and if nothing else, at least try to match or exceed what they've got going on. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to spot what sort of trends and what's doing well for them, and then use that to help influence your advertising.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so
sounds to me like this is just going to save you a whole lot of time and intelligence on the upfront, right? It's just going to save you all that learning that you would have done yourself of wasting, spending money to experiment and do the education yourself.
Exactly.
So there are two. I've read many times that one of the biggest problems that startups, most startups, unfortunately, as you know, Max and Jeff and I, even when we do our show, we talk about survival. One of the biggest problems, obviously, is startup. You're probably destined to fail. Unfortunately, most startups do fail, and the number one place that most of them do fail is that their customer acquisition cost, the cost to get the customer, is very high, and they take too long to figure out how much it's going to cost to get them, and they run out of money. Product market fit is another area, but number one generally is cost per acquiring that customer. So
absolutely, and especially if you have a startup where you sort of the chicken and the egg situation, you have to acquire both sides of your spectrum.
Yeah,
it becomes extremely expensive and creates a huge barrier to entry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool. That's good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Maybe now we can cut to what runs where, and maybe we can talk about a use case, and you can give your 2 cents on it.
Well, I have no problem showing off our product live, and just going with what you said. Let me figure out how to share my screen.
Actually, before we get into that, I just want to say congrats on your successful startup, man. I mean, you guys sound like you're growing.
Thank you. We're doing well. We're very good at what we do.
Okay.
So it's been really amazing that we've gone from just my partner and myself, and we work with quite a number of large marquee clients now, and a lot of smaller advertisers and small businesses now to really help them grow. And it's the most rewarding thing to me, and it sounds kind of corny, is when somebody comes and says, "I've really used your tool to help me do X, Y, and Z," and it's been successful.
Okay.
Because I don't want somebody to use us unless they're going to be successful.
So let me also get this straight. You mentioned this earlier that you remove the conflict of interest, meaning that you don't actually do any media buying for yourself anymore. You're just pretty much focused on building this business. Is that correct?
Exactly. No, ever the day that we launched the public, my partner and I stopped, and nobody within our company does it in any way, shape, or form. And that we do it internally for our own product. So we buy ads for What Runs Where.
Yeah, that's interesting. So where would maybe that might be the first good use case. Maybe you can show us how you're you know, unless you feel uncomfortable doing that. I mean,
That's not a problem. I'll give you some methodology. I'll stick with your photography example first, and then we'll go into that.
Okay.
I'll give you a really high level overview about how we use what runs where to do that. We look at not necessarily our competitors, which is we look at other similar businesses. So businesses that target the same audience that we want to reach.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that many established competitors outside of, say, Comscore or Nielsen.
Okay.
So we look at other businesses that reach those same people, be it HubSpot or be it, you know, even a web hosting company that reaches small businesses online.
Yeah.
And we use what they're doing to help us figure out where to target our ads.
Okay, that sounds great. I think web hosting will be another great use case. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's cut to your software and let's check it out.
Sure.
So that's over here on the left
Yeah,
here.
I just hit.
Okay, cool.
Sorry. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. So this right here is the inside of what runs where.
Okay.
So there are 4 separate tabs. There's a by advertiser search, so you can search an advertiser. A by publisher search, so you can search a website that people are advertising on. And we also offer keyword and top ad searches. But let's use, so if you're starting a photography marketplace and you want to get photographers in there, you know, it might be worth looking at somebody like Shutterstock,
Okay.
where there's an established, you know, photography marketplace, where, you know, they have a lot of those customers and they have people buying their photography and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
All you do is type in shutterstock.com. We have a bar that fills it in, and we'll pull up this little overview page. Unlike some of our competitors, we show over 90 different traffic sources depending on where they advertise. We try and go across every platform that we can.
Okay.
Cool.
So from there, you can drill down to the demographics. So who's actually going to shutterstock.com? Where are they coming from? What age are they? And this will really help you if you're a start because you'll have an idea of who your customer is.
Okay.
So you'll be able to see if this idea really matches up with who's actually going to your competition's website.
Okay, that's very cool.
Then the real meat and potatoes is drilling down to the actual traffic sources.
Gotcha.
So we can look at their 5,000 unique places that we've seen them buying.
Okay.
We can sort by country. So we're also in 11 countries, which makes us kind of unique.
Okay.
But we can sort by country. We can sort by what we have is this prevalence score, where it shows us what we think is doing best. So
Okay.
we think allfreedownload.com is the best, you know, place that Shutterstock's advertising, and we can view the exact ads used there if we want.
And really
Just
briefly
smash it.
here, and that score is based on how many days that you've seen Shutterstock advertise on all these sites.
It's a little bit of our secret sauce, but it's a combination score between days, hits, and a couple other factors.
Days, hits, and a couple of other secret factors. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
But it's what we think is doing best, and the equivalent on the ad side, which I'll show you, is called ad strength. It's the same score.
Okay, and really briefly,
But-
so if I want to compete with Shutterstock, I want to try to basically hit allfreedownload.com as one of our key biz dev targets, correct?
Yeah. Well, here's how I would look at it. First, I'd pop this open a bit more,
All right.
so I can see all these different places.
Okay.
Now, what I would want to do, and I can also filter at the top. So let's say that I only want to target U.S. customers at first. So
Okay.
let's do that. You know, so that limits us down to, you know, instead of 5,000, there are only 2,100 different traffic sources. But what I would want to do is I want to take the top 10, 20 different places, and I would want to test advertising on those places as well. Because I'm being told that they're doing really well for Shutterstock, so if they're able to do well there, it's worth me testing with a limited budget to see if that's, you know, a great place to get a cheap UA.
Okay.
So I would.
And when you say cheap, actually it's relative, right? I mean, even if it's expensive,
Exactly.
as long as it's converting, it doesn't matter, right? Isn't that the bottom line here?
Well, I said cheap user acquisition, so the premises there is it's converting.
Okay.
It's not really important in my mind to have, you know, people coming to your website that aren't going to buy stuff.
Right.
Especially when you're a startup, you're just so hungry for cash in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're very
you have to
hungry for
convert.
cash. I mean, every day is a
Eyeballs don't
survival,
count.
man. Yeah. I'm sorry,
Exactly.
Jeff. What were you saying?
Yeah, the eyeballs don't count as much as the conversions, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they look really pretty when you're going to raise money or doing something like that.
Right.
But at
make
the
it
end of the
pretty
day,
graphic.
you know, you see all these websites with super low traffic, but it's very valuable traffic.
Right.
You know, Well, the next thing I would look at is I would look at all their banner ads and all their text ads, and I can sort by ad strength, which is the same thing as prevalence.
Gotcha. So now we're looking at the creatives here at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here, it's never good to just rip somebody's creative off and just go and use that, because that's not how life works, and that's not the most ethical thing to do. But what I would do is I would take a look and see, what are the common things that they're using between their ads, and how can I leverage these common things back into my own campaign?
Okay.
So taking a look at this, I see 20 million royalty-free images, down up to 20 million royalty-free images, 20 million plus high-resolution pictures, 20 million royalties. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing them use a number in their ads. So I go take my piece of paper and I write that down and say they use a high number in their ads, and then I see royalty-free. That seems to show up all the time as well.
Right.
And then then they're using the call to action. So I write down all the different call to actions. Okay. And I write down all the different stuff that they use within their headlines, and I quickly have sort of a mix and match list that I can use of key points within their ads. I would do the same thing with their competitors that I can use to build really great ads for myself from the beginning.
Okay, so really briefly here, I'm seeing ad strength numbers here. What is that? Now, and you've got a date here. What can you explain that?
As I said, it's the same thing as prevalence. So it's the same score, but it's just for ads.
Okay.
Is there the date?
Okay, so you've also got to sort by most recent or sort by ad strength.
So most recent is what's the most recent ad that we've seen for Shutterstock.
Okay. Okay.
So we can sort there.
And is there usually a correlation? Because I assume an ad that has a high strength will probably be the most recent, right? Generally.
Not necessarily, because what if? So here's an old ad that has a very high ad strength.
Right.
This one, it hasn't been run since since a couple months, over 6 months now.
Yeah, 6 months ago, yeah.
But it was run really, 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 really heavily during that time.
Okay.
Which is why we show this last seen date.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
And we can do this. And we can do the same thing.
In your opinion, you've got a lot of experience in this. Should we be looking mostly at the most recent or strength? What's more?
I would be looking at ad strength, because it shows historically what's performed well. With most recent, as an advertiser, you're going to want to split test in different ads, so test different variations to figure out what works best.
Yeah.
But if I have my split test optimized, I start running my fully optimized ad for 5 months, 6 months, we're going to assign that high ad strength.
Okay.
So here's a perfect example. This ad was seen yesterday, but it has an ad strength of 7,000.
Right.
That's probably a pretty good ad to look at. It has a fairly high ad strength.
Yeah.
And it's been running really recently.
Okay.
So you can use a combination of those things.
Okay.
So to me, it seems like having that sort by the score just is a huge time saving.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Are there any? You don't get these tools from the ad networks themselves or anything like that, right? I'm a super layman here, but it seems like the point is this tool is just going to save me tons and tons of time by sorting the best at the top.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then allowing you to take that back to your own campaigns and go from there.
Gotcha. Very cool.
So there are a couple other things that we do. One is that we can suggest other placements. So here are all places that Shutterstock isn't advertising, but we can suggest for them. And where this is useful is once you're advertising, so let's say Shutterstock came to us, they can use this to find new places to scale out their campaigns to.
I see. Okay.
Or you can find places to beat them to. These are untested places, so these are places that you may want to take when you're a bit further along in your journey as a startup, but these are places that are still relevant.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very cool. So these are other areas that we can place it. I'm noticing that I can't tell who's repping them. Like, is this Google Content Network?
You absolutely can't. Not in this frame, but if you go back to traffic sources,
okay,
we have
the source column.
Right, yeah. And we can sort by source, so we can say, is it 247 Real Media? Is it buy sell ads? Is it AdWords? Who are they advertising through?
Very cool.
And then we can also filter here as well, so we can say, I only want to see people that are buying through OpenX.
Okay.
Or people that are buying through PulsePoint, or stuff like that.
Okay.
The other thing, and I'm going to show you guys how to save a little bit more time as well, is when we were talking about text and hybrid ads, we also have common phrases. So remember when I was pulling out those little phrases?
Oh yeah, the text, yeah.
We just do that automatically for you.
Oh,
So
wow.
we show top words that we found in the ads or top phrases.
Wow, very cool.
More
So
time
you
saving,
can
yeah.
easily, pull those out.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
So
we
when I said 20 million, 20 million is right here, 20 million
I
royalty, royalty
see.
free.
Yeah, we definitely want
Royalty
royalty
free.
free in our photography startup ad. Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, all right. That's very cool.
So then, but let's say that you're not sure. So you have a really limited budget as a startup, right?
Yeah.
And advertising places can be risky. You can lose a lot of money.
Yeah, you can lose your
So-
shirt. I mean, this is
Exactly.
gambling,
So-
man. I mean,
So let's say that I'm interested in advertising on Smashing Magazine.
All right.
I
Love
just pick
that.
one here and one. What we can do is we can just click on that. Everything's interlinked, and this goes to our by publisher search. So you could have typed in Smashing Magazine,
Okay.
but we can look at it as a publisher. So we can show here are the demographics of the people that go to smashingmagazine.com.
All right.
Oh, cool.
So you can try and match that up again with your target audience. Are these the people I want to be targeting?
Okay.
Not necessarily, and that's going to differ from who's going to Shutterstock, because these are the people that are going to the site they're advertising on.
Ah,
So
very
if,
cool,
if
very
those
interesting.
audiences are aligned, that gives you a
Okay.
really good,
So
idea.
this obviously could be very helpful if you want to set up some sort of biz dev situation with Smashing Magazine directly.
Exactly. So it's making sure that they are the right target for you.
Okay.
Then the next thing that we can look at is we can look at all the different advertisers. So this is where it comes back. Who is actually advertising on Smashing Magazine?
Oh.
So
Wow.
what I would be looking for here is I'd be looking for things like this. iStock Photos also advertising here.
Okay.
Hmm.
Shutterstock's a top advertiser there. Who else is advertising here? And are they Corvus images? So I'm seeing a couple different, photography startups advertising here, photography websites advertising here. It's probably a good target.
Okay.
What I can do is I can just reference the other advertisers that are advertising here and make sure that they have related audiences. Because what you don't want is something where Shutterstock's buying somewhere, but they're just throwing away money for position on a website. You want something where this is clearly a good place to advertise because look at all the different photography startups that are advertising here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That demographic info, where do you get that from?
We pull that from a third party. So we actually license that data out from somebody. That's not our own data.
Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's something I couldn't just go collect myself by scraping the pages.
No, exactly. But I mean, we do pay for that information.
Yeah,
we
that's valuable.
include it in for users for free. The other thing that we can do, so for Smashing Magazine, let's say that you can't get in contact with them directly, we can show you all the different places that you can go buy there. So you can buy a little bit from 247 Real Media, a little bit from AdWords, but most of it looks like media buy, which means a direct buy. So you would actually have to go to them directly and buy it.
Ah, very cool. So you guys are actually somehow scraping these ads and figuring out that they're actually not part of any network, and this is directly with Smashing Magazine.
Exactly.
Wow.
When we go through the whole stack as we scrape, we're able to say it's coming from that network or it's
Comprehensive.
coming directly or here's what's actually happening.
Ah, very cool, very cool. Okay, so obviously Shutterstock has got some ad server set up and all that bit, right?
Yeah, they probably just went and signed an insertion order with them and put their ad there.
I got you.
And then we can show all the different banner ads that are being used on Smashing Magazine. So here's an iStock photo one. Here's one for full sale. They are all different types of ads.
Okay.
And then right here, we do have live support within our site. So
Gotcha.
I
this is
noticed
an
that.
actual person. He sits about 15 feet away from me. You may have seen him come in and help me set up when
That's
I was
awesome.
Love it.
talking to you guys.
That's good.
We kind of that's one kind of thing I study on all the different sites we go to. If people use that and if it's effective or not. Do you guys enjoy?
Love it.
Do you find it useful? Okay, great.
Love it. We put it on the front of our website. We put it on the inside of our website, and
Okay.
it's one of the things that really we feel differentiates us.
Okay.
But also is just our users really love it because when you're going through the front of the website, you may have a question
Gotcha.
that the site may not answer. If you can ask somebody really quickly,
Gotcha.
and then on the inside, especially when it's the same person, you're able to build a dialogue, and this person sort of just becomes sort of even a friend on the inside of the site where you.
Oh man,
Oh, very
I've
cool.
never
Maybe
heard
say
of
hello.
someone putting
The
that on
one
the
thing I
inside
will
like
say-
that.
Yeah, you know
The
what?
one thing
I
I will say is everybody assumes.
right. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go forward.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the one thing about the front of the website is everybody assumes that, and everybody sits here in the office, but everybody assumes that we just outsource it to India.
Right.
Oh, it's great to
And
know
they
that you guys
assume that,
do
you
it from
know,
right there. I mean, it's easy enough to do yourselves, right? I mean, that goes a really long way. It's impressive. For me, that goes a long way. What you're saying is that you actually put the chat on the inside of the website. I don't know of any other site that I've or application or software that I use
Yeah,
that
you
really
know,
has
I'd have to
that
agree
kind
with
of
you,
level of
Jeff. A lot
support.
of times you don't see the chat
I
on
think
the
that's the way it should
inside,
go.
generally speaking. Yeah.
well, we want to make sure that our customers have the best experience within
Yeah,
our
so
product as
kudos for
possible.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very,
So
very cool.
then
So,
the next,
go ahead.
sorry, go for it.
No, no, go ahead. You.
I'm still just getting started about what we can do with all this
Oh,
kind of stuff.
please keep going, Max. Keep going. I'm loving this.
We have the most that you can do with our product compared to any of our competitors by far. So the next thing that we can do is we can search by keyword. So, you know, let's say that I know iStock photo, but I don't know their domain. We can search iStock photo or something like that, and we'll pull up ads that relate to that keyword. And what we do is we search landing page text and URL and a bunch of other things to find that. So we may find banners here, and I'll see if I can find any that don't relate to iStock photo. Here's one right here from They Call Me Mama. Now, that has the word iStock photo in their landing page a whole bunch of times.
Huh.
So we've, you know, brought it there. We see one-on-one hosting, but we also see ads from iStock photo, obviously.
Okay.
So we're able to search by keywords. So let's say that you're promoting something, you're a different kind of startup, you're trying to create a diet product, or you're trying to create, you know, an auto product. You can put those keywords in, and you can find hundreds of different advertisers that are related to that space.
You know what? Let's actually try that really quick, if you don't mind. Let's try diet, for example.
Sure.
So I know diet is a big vertical for affiliate marketing.
Absolutely.
So we can probably see which affiliates are doing well, right? Can we now sort this by the number of times that's been seen and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen that flashing
Yeah,
banana.
we automatically sort by score, but we can also sort by recently seen or recently discovered.
Okay.
Or anything like that within this drop down.
So
Max,
here.
just really briefly
so
here.
we can filter down to specific.
So really briefly here, Max, which ad here, in your opinion, is probably doing really well and that we would want to copy if you wanted to get into the diet affiliate space?
Take inspiration from.
Yeah, I think like you said before, well, you'd be looking for patterns that seem to be working.
Exactly.
Because you're going to see a lot of commonalities among these.
What I would be doing here is I would see 5 foods never eat, 5 foods never eat, 5 foods never eat. Well, that's just screaming at me right here as I go down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All of them.
And now I'm looking. Most of these come from one advertiser, but there are a couple different people that are using that same thing, so it might be working. So again, I'm just writing out all sorts of different things. 5 foods never eat, different advertiser. 5 foods never eat, different advertiser. Now, 5 foods never eat seems like a pretty good line that I'd want to use.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at what do they use? They all use little arrows for the calls to action.
Yeah.
They're all using pictures of fruit.
Yeah.
And
a lot of them tend to look very unprofessional.
So I will tell you that's an old trick from performance marketing. Ugly works.
Ugly works.
All these professional agencies come out with really, really pretty banners. So when you start with something ugly, especially as a startup, ugly banners really work. And I'll give you a live example. I'll go back for 1 second, and let's look at plentyoffish.com.
Oh yeah,
because they're famous for using here are their banners.
Yeah. You're right. All the crazy.
It looks literally like they went. It looks like they went into Paint and just typed something out or in Word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's how they advertise their website.
So these are like text on banner ads.
Yeah.
These are banner ads. These aren't text ads. These are you opened up Paint, you opened up 300 by 250, you typed a bunch of stuff in.
Like a paragraph. Yeah.
Wow. Exactly. And these are their ads because they look different and they don't look like ads.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very
so
cool.
the other thing that we can do is we can generally show just the top ads across the web. I'm not going to show you that just because it's not related to what we're talking about.
Okay.
But what we can do here is let's say that we're going back to diet.
Okay.
And that's not related either, but I'll go off on a little tangent.
All right, that's
what
fine.
we have here is we have something called saved ads, where we can create ad groups and then we can literally drag and drop ads into our ad groups. And what that does is it saves our ads for later, so we can build working groups as we're going through.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
Let's say that I'm not quite ready yet to advertise a new product, or I'm developing something.
Okay.
I'm developing it, and I can find ads that my competitors are using for it. I can drag it into a folder, so I don't need to do the research all over again.
Great.
Okay.
And the other thing that we have is we have something called domain tracking, where you can put in something like shutterstock.com or whatever, and we'll alert you by email and within the website when we find new ads for that advertiser.
Oh, very nice. So if they're trying a new split test or
Exactly,
that kind of thing,
you'll get alerted.
Oh,
so we do all that work for you.
Oh, very cool, very cool. All right, so let's say I want to compete in the web hosting space. I know that's a very large vertical,
Sure.
It's very competitive. How would you go about that? Let's say with What Runs Where.
How would I do it? Well, I would make a list of all the different web hosts, and then I would go in and I actually do know this because a couple of the very large web hosts use us.
Okay.
One in one.
But I would go in and I would type in, let's say, Bluehost.
All right, let's say
which is the largest free host.
Yeah.
And I would do the same thing as I did with Shutterstock. But what I would do is I would take the top, 100 traffic sources. I put in, and start to compare it to where all the different web hosts are advertising. And I would do exactly the same thing.
Okay.
I would just create tests that way.
Okay.
So same thing. I would start to see $6.95 a month, $4.95 a month. What are they offering? What's important here?
Okay.
That I can use, and I would do exactly the same thing as I did before.
So in this case, though, Max, let's say we found out that ugly works. So could we possibly test an ugly version of this? Because obviously these are.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, these are really nicely well
These
designed.
are all nice and pretty. So I would take that theory. I would absolutely go back to my designer and say, let's create a really ugly web hosting banner, and build my own. I would just test it in against it. But what I would use in that banner is I would use these sort of principles that everybody else is using. Now my price. Now I'm saying, what features do I need to offer? What are people important? What do people find important?
Okay.
Space transfer, domains, responsive support. You get a free domain.
Okay.
That's what I keep saying. Unlimited, free, those type of things. So I might try and use those in a really ugly way.
I see. Wow.
The same way as Plenty of Fish did. They're really, really ugly dating banners.
Right.
But they're also really pretty ones that like eHarmony runs.
So is there a way to find out if that's actually true, whether ugly does work? Could we find a way to compare eHarmony versus Plenty of Fish and see? I mean,
well, in web hosting, all I would do is I would search hosting.
Okay.
And in the same way as diet, I saw a lot of ugly stuff. Here, I searched hosting, and I'm seeing all these different web hosting banners now, right?
Yeah.
Web hosting UK, Rose hosting, all these different ones that we think are doing well. I'm not really seeing much ugly stuff.
I'm not either. Yeah.
So that's probably pointing towards something,
Whoa!
That's
What was that?
probably pointing towards
that looked like a porn site for a second there.
That's why I screwed up really quickly. I might have. So we do have adult content within What Runs Where.
Okay.
We turn it.
Wait, right there, Max. Right, scroll down. I think I saw an ugly one.
Where?
Scroll down.
Right here.
Yeah, there we go. 10 best website builders. Look at that. Yeah.
Well,
now
that's like the handwritten style almost.
Yeah, handwritten style.
This is important. This is an important thing for me to say though. We do have adult content within What Runs Where because there's a ton of adult advertising across the web.
Okay.
We aggressively take it out of the site and create a filter that you can turn on and off.
Okay.
So for every user, it's automatically turned off.
Okay.
And because there are people that make a lot of money within the adult business. If you want that content,
okay,
you can turn the filter on and it'll be enabled.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So there are people that want to look at it, and then there are also people that want to see that content because imagine if, for example, you are a web host.
Okay.
And you are Rackspace, and then you have one of your affiliates or somebody that goes beyond your terms and starts to say, host all your porn right here.
Yeah.
You want to know about that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Also, maybe the adult guys are probably you never know, they might have a really cool idea, cool creative that you might learn from. So.
You can always learn something there, but we found generally most of our customers don't want to look at that content.
Okay.
So if you actually go within your account and you go to service preferences, you can turn that on and off.
All right, that's cool.
It's great though that you guys have the option. You've got it all.
Yeah.
there's one, but we've only actually shown you half of what we do because we're the only company and startup like this that offers the mobile intelligence side as well, and we also are the only person currently to offer in-app advertising intelligence.
Oh wow. Okay.
So if we're
So that's a
talking,
whole
and that's important because let's say that coming back to our, I'm not, so big on the mobile apps. I'm still on a BlackBerry. Don't ask why. But let's say that you have your Shutterstock, but you want to launch your mobile sharing app as well.
Okay.
For your photography, you can do it on the mobile side as well.
Okay.
So in the same way, Shutterstock doesn't advertise as much on the mobile web, but they do a little bit. So we can look, and it looks like they're just doing, on tablets and that kind of stuff.
I see. Okay.
Through DoubleClick Mobile.
Gotcha.
Which makes sense. Yeah, they're just doing it on the iPhone, so they're using those banners.
I see.
But if we come in here and we take a look at Android app ads, we can take a look at all the different Android apps and what's running within those. And that's really cool. And you will start to be able to spot, hopefully something that has to do with
Oh wow.
be able to spot something that has to do with
Do you see the
photos.
mobile marketplace getting bigger? I mean, this is kind of
huge.
uncharted territory. So
It's absolutely uncharted territory, but it's one that's going to be, 100 times bigger by the end of next year.
Wow.
There's so much inventory. There's no transparency.
Okay.
And it's a space that there's a lot of expansion into right now.
Okay.
But
You know what, Max?
no efficiency there.
You're talking my language here. So you're saying it's still kind of the Wild West. If there's any startups that are watching this episode, if they wanted to get into the mobile space, it's still wide open in your opinion. Are the costs per clicks low or impressions low?
Everything's really cheap.
Okay.
Well, the way I would call mobile right now is it's like e-commerce back in the early 2000s.
Wow.
Everyone knows there's a lot of money there, knows there's opportunity there, but no one's really cracked the code yet.
Okay.
And that's not to say there are companies like Millennial Media that are billion-dollar companies, but somebody's going to figure out how to do this so much better than anybody else, and they're going to come miles ahead, and they're not there yet. And mobile's really, really hot right now.
Yeah.
So taking a look at these games, if it's Groupon and Groupon's Android app,
Okay.
and look there's an ugly Groupon banner.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right there, 5 stars. It looks like it was made in paint. Versus, versus here's an ugly one, here's a pretty one.
Gotcha. I am seeing a lot of game type.
Well, what do you think most people do on their mobile devices these days?
Right.
It's playing
Yeah.
games.
So do you think that's going to change too? That it's going to broaden to more than just gaming? It's going to hit the other.
Absolutely. Well, it already has. If we go back to what do other apps like Gree, and there's things like voice text messaging, Dropbox, Google Chrome. There are more apps and more productivity apps. Eventually, you're not going to need a computer, and you'll be able to do. Well, you already can do everything from your tablet.
Yeah.
I bought my mother an iPad about a year ago, and she barely uses her computer anymore because I got her a keyboard for it as well.
Right.
It's really unbelievable.
No, I love it. I'm looking forward to that trajectory as well.
So in the same way, but going to Groupon, let's say, because I was saying ugly versus pretty, we can drill into 6,000 different apps that they're advertising on. And you can figure out what apps you want to buy on through AdMob or anybody else that they're advertising to.
Very cool.
Through Graystripe, AppLovin, AdMob, anything like that. And in the same way, you can look at all those ads and banners. So we see a lot of pretty stuff, and I'm sure we'll see some ugly stuff if I break it open. Come on, ugly banners. Where are they at? Well, there's one.
Okay.
There's one.
And so another thing you're saying is that this is not transparent, right? Like it's really hard for me to get to see this because, so how are you guys doing this technically? How are you getting behind the scenes and?
But that's sort of our proprietary technology. Why we're one of the only people. We released it about a month ago, 3 weeks ago now.
Okay.
And I know one of our competitors was on your show saying they were going to do it as well, so we look forward to seeing what they release. But I'm confident to say that we are the leader in this space, and we will continue to be the leader and the best product within this space. And we're excited about it. This is a product that we still heavily work on and continue to develop, along with our core offering of the display side.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
this is really useful.
This has been really eye-opening, Max. So, Really briefly here, let's say let's pick another startup here. Let's say I've got a website builder startup, and I
Sure.
want to compete with like a Wix.com or something.
Sure. And you pulled up, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to pull up Wix.com.
Okay.
Because you, as I said, you interviewed more of our competition. They did the exact same thing. The way that we group domains together is by the root URL. So it's the same thing with Shopify or Wix or anything like that.
Or like a WordPress or a Tumblr or
Exactly,
something. Right?
exactly. When you have, think about how many Tumblr accounts you have. So if somebody's going to advertise their Tumblr account, you're going to have advertising that doesn't make sense from a whole bunch of different places all coming into one place.
Okay.
But that's why we built something really useful. So I switch back to the display side. That's why we use subdomains.
Oh, okay.
So, and the perfect use case here is pretend you're a university, right? And you have all sorts of different schools that you want to advertise. You have your business school, you have your medical school, you have your art school.
Yeah.
You would create arts.university of Phoenix, for example, or business.university of Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's actually just, here's a perfect example. There's admission.University of California. There's LP.University of Vermont. But there's all sorts of different stuff.
You guys have a really helpful autocomplete drop-down search box in your UI for our listeners.
Yeah, so we do that to be able to show you, is it a website? And then we have things like this, and this is something that we're only able to do, but we can tell you, this is University of Farmers, but they're pointing towards their Facebook page.
Mm.
So if we go into their landing page, which I didn't show and I should have, but we'll actually be able to show you where they're pointing. So right here, they're pointing to facebook.com/University of Farmers.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. Which is for farmers insurance.
Right, right.
And versus if we went back into, I don't know, let's go back into Shutterstock. And we go to their landing pages, we're going to actually see the URLs of the pages that they're using here.
Okay.
So we would be able to see the actual, create your account, sign in type page.
Gotcha.
So there's a big difference there, and we can break it down. Are they advertising a Twitter page? Or are they advertising a Facebook page?
Gotcha.
But for something like Wix, where not everybody has a Wix page,
Okay.
or it's not a standard, there's just going to be a lot of junk,
Okay.
as I would call it.
All right. What's another really big vertical? And let's say we're doing affiliates now. In this case,
If I'm an affiliate advertising, other huge verticals. Well, there are a lot of them. A lot of it has to do with, it's not an affiliate vertical, but we always, when we do demos we always talk about autos and cars.
All right.
And the example that we use is Ford. So what's Ford doing, and then how, if I'm Nissan, can I do it differently?
Okay.
It's exactly the same methodology. You would go to Ford.com, and you would take a look at what Ford's doing, and you would take a look at their traffic sources and their ads, and then you would look at Nissan and Toyota and compile what they're doing and really spot what's doing well for them.
Okay.
And put that back in. The methodology is the same. And what I showed you at the very beginning, the methodology is the same across every example that we use.
Yeah, the tools are pretty simple.
The tools extremely simple, but the point of it is that you can do it across a whole bunch of different places. So if I'm if I'm Tesla, let's say, and Tesla's a startup,
it's a good one,
a really well-funded one with
Right.
a lot of money and a couple cars that they've made, but a startup nonetheless.
Right.
Let's say that I'm trying to figure out where I only have $1 million to spend on my advertising versus Ford that spends $100 million, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I be looking at their digital spend and figuring out, I could go and I could take all 6,000 websites they're advertising on and try and advertise there, but wouldn't I rather just take the top 100 and try and advertise there?
Okay.
And then see what works from there and then move down that list.
Interesting.
So be able to test and control batches.
Right.
So the same way I can look at what ads are doing best there, and I can say, what's doing well there. The other thing I can do is I can use this to build, let's say that I'm the person that's just in charge of research.
Mm-hmm.
So and this is perfect for startups. There's a wonderful word called interns that every startup should take advantage of.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to the university, you find some, but let's say that you're an intern, you're in charge of building this, or you're telling your intern what to do. you can say go and take Ford's ad, and we could export all Ford's ads very quickly.
Oh,
And
wow.
what we would do is we create a folder, and we'll give you all their ads that you can bring back and put into presentations or anything like that. We'll do the same thing with traffic sources.
Oh, very cool.
And the
That's
other thing
beautiful.
that we're the only person that's able to do, and this is where it comes back with Ford, it's interesting for a startup under the business development. We have a partnership with Redbooks, which is a prospecting tool, to be able to show you a bit of information about, say, Ford. So we can tell you, what Ford is if you don't know.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We can give you, here's their general phone number, here's where they're located, here's how many employees they have, here's how much money they made last year, and then here is a contact. Here is Ford's brand manager. So
Wow.
if you're looking to do some client development or you're
Wow,
looking to
this
contact
is-
people, we can show you.
Oh, this
a
is
teaser
incredible.
there.
So if I'm an ad agency
Yeah.
and I want to try to challenge their creative, I could
You can
possibly
give them a call.
hit them up, right?
Exactly, and then it's a teaser, so hopefully you use Redbooks as well, which contains more contacts than that, and is a fantastic resource.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, I love the data you guys are pulling in that just simply is not accessible to, or is just hard to get to for most of us.
Thank
Between
you.
that and the demographic info and the mobile stuff, it's just you guys have a lot of it there. But,
Well, we try and be the one-stop shop for.
So now
Ford.
that we've covered kind of a big blue chip like Ford, let's go back to the scrappy 2-3 person startup again. Is there any way that we can look at a specific network, like a smaller network, not the big double clicks of the world, but a smaller one?
Yeah,
and see-
absolutely. Well, we could go to top ads, and we could hit search, and we'll show top ads now. You can pick any network here that we have searchable. We can look at, well, Point Roll's huge as well, but we can look at all these are large advertising networks. But we could look at,
Which one's a good
I don't
small
know.
one you think you'd recommend?
well, we don't really show any small any small ones that are searchable here,
Okay.
hmm
because they need to have a good amount running on them.
Okay.
But speaking of startups, if we want to look at what startups are doing, I mean, we can take a small startup that does advertise. What about us?
All right. Let's check
there
you
you
guys out.
Yeah, you mentioned that's a great example that you guys use your own product to advertise yourselves.
Why don't we take a look at ourselves?
All right.
And we'll say with what runs where are they buying through? Well, we do buy mostly through AdWords. That's very true. We
Okay.
buy a little bit through Site Scout as well.
Okay.
Here are the demographics of the people that come to whatrunswhere.com.
Okay.
We buy on really not that many places. Here are the 35 places that we buy on the contextual display side, and we do quite a bit of retargeting and search marketing outside of that, but we don't cover any of that. But then we can look at what runs where's creatives themselves. So we can say, are you considering what runs where, competitive site analysis, find banner ads, and then you can also look at our very ugly creative. That, they're not that ugly, but they could be a lot.
They're animated at least.
You definitely got a big call to action there. Try us now for
It's only
$1.
$1.
Exactly.
Wow, very cool.
Exactly.
Sounds like a deal to me.
Have you guys split test a bunch of different ideas or?
Yeah, I mean, we do run active split tests all the time with our product, and especially on the retargeting side. On our Facebook side, we have a lot of fun. We take Jay, who you saw pop up in the chat, and we take photos of him with all sorts of different stuff. Him holding, we have toy battle axes and Nerf guns, and he holds our office dog sometimes, and we take all sorts of silly photos and use those within our Facebook ads.
Are you suggesting silly photos on Facebook ads work?
Oh, absolutely. When I get retargeted by AdRoll or a lot of other different startups,
Okay.
that jumps out to me. When I'm personally using my Facebook,
Yeah.
that really does jump out to me as as something that's different.
Okay.
But
So
when we advertise, we'll test, and especially on Facebook, we'll test everything. We
so
test
that
the
brings me to
babies
another
and-
big traffic source, Facebook. Now, as far as I know, Facebook's supposed to be kind of like a walled garden here. So, are you able to get in there and scrape ads from Facebook?
No, we aren't. We are the only person I know that has actually gone to Facebook and had meetings with them and said, "Hey, do you mind if we take your data?" And they said, "Absolutely no." We ask permission, and we aren't. We like being able to operate. And another thing that kills a lot of startups
Okay.
is lawsuits.
Mhm.
So we try and stay out of that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So for now, at least
But as I
until.
said, we can if I type in Facebook here,
Okay.
we can look at people's Facebook pages though.
Yeah, you do know when advertisements are pointing to Facebook pages,
Exactly. So if
which is
you're advertising,
really
if you're the
valuable.
Atlantic and you're advertising your Facebook page, we can tell you, they're pointing. So join the Atlantic on Facebook.
Okay. Huh, very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to see what the creative might be for those sorts of ads and stuff because they must be Facebook users and
What's your feeling with this, Max? Why do you suppose Facebook's not allowing guys like you to scrape their ad data? What's the
Well, with everybody else's public accessible information, Facebook wants so inefficiencies are good and bad for the market. One, they're great for the market because they cause more people to spend and people to be more profitable and able to spend better. They're bad because they sometimes reduce spend, but also it's a control of information thing. If it's absolutely their decision, and they're in a position where you have to abide by what they say.
Gotcha.
So it's sometimes things are the way they are.
Right. Right.
So how's this look then for like Twitter?
Twitter. I mean, Twitter's ads are display ads, so we wouldn't capture them.
Okay.
But Twitter's ads are more accessible than Facebook's.
Okay.
You don't need to be logged in to see Twitter's ads.
Right.
But
Okay.
we only cover display and mobile media.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Wow. I tell you, Max, this has been quite an eye opener, man. As far as startups that are trying to get out there and trying to get their brand and trying to get customers, what kind of deal you got going on right now?
Well, we offer a trial of any one of our packages for $1. You get 7 days.
Okay.
No obligation. You can use it for 6 days and cancel if you want. We would rather you did pay us.
Okay.
And then our packages range anywhere from $229 to $279 a month, and then scale up towards enterprise from there.
Okay.
And I will call you guys out very, very quickly because you said that MixRank was the cheapest on the market.
I did say that, yeah.
And that is actually untrue.
Okay.
We have a package. We had it on the website for a while, but we pulled it down because we found our users actually didn't really care or want that package. But we offer just the Google Content Network data, so just data from Google, for $19 a month.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So we do that, I think MixRank's a fantastic product. I do want to say that. I know Ilya over there well.
Okay.
But we do offer that for $19 a month. If you email us privately, we'll still open it up for you.
Okay.
And we're happy to do that. But the majority of our users pay for it's sort of a pay for what you get type of thing. We give premium advertising intelligence for a very reasonable price.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's no question. Learning about your competitors, learning out what's working on all the different networks is so important.
Yeah, to have all the different networks is a huge advantage too.
That's
Obviously,
massive.
to be able to, aggregate that all at one glance, and the ranking algorithm that you guys have, more than just a mule trying to piece together how long they've been running it and how effective it's been. You kind of do that for us, which
Exactly.
is just
We're
huge time
trying
saver.
to exactly, and as we keep moving forwards and developing new features and building more intelligence into, eventually we want to become, something that does everything for you.
So one thing we didn't really cover that much, and I'd like to go over if you have some time, is landing pages. Can you show us what some of the landing pages are looking like, and maybe we can, give, that way that'll give us some examples of how
Sure.
what we should be doing for landing
Well,
pages.
this is just the Atlantic's Facebook page because that's where they're driving people, right?
Right. Maybe try
And
some other some of the other.
Shutterstock's was just a sign-up page.
Yeah, they had just a sign-up page.
Let's
Maybe
look
like a
at- let's see
diet
what,
or
for example, Ford.
Yeah, a diet or a car or weight loss or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can do all of them. I'm as much time as you guys need.
Okay, cool.
I block. So if we look at Ford and we look at all the different, landing page URLs, here Ford's advertising Transit Connect. So they're advertising, being able to build a Ford for your business. So here's, a car that you get for your business.
Okay.
and this is the landing page you're using.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Now, this is a very big brand landing page where there's a lot going on and there are a lot of exit points. As a startup, if I was building a page, I would want it to be very simple with the minimum number of confusion or exit points possible.
Yeah, super
so
focused,
you can
right?
focus your user into one place.
Yeah, super focused. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Force Factor, using a pretty big diet brand.
Okay.
It was started by a bunch of performance marketers as well. But if we look at Force Factor and we look at some of what they're using here, women's fitness coming soon.
Awesome. And we got an email lead capture form right there, huh?
Exactly. And your eyes immediately go there.
Yeah.
They're, instead of having like 20 buttons, there are only a couple different buttons at the top. Okay. And if I was really just trying to only do this, I would take out the top buttons as well and the bottom buttons.
Yeah.
I would literally just have the email capture there.
Yeah.
Take that in.
And I've said this numerous times on previous episodes that email is gold for startups.
Absolutely. Well, it gives you a list of future customers.
Yeah.
And especially with email or phone number, that's I would call it an internal resource versus an external resource.
Yeah.
It's much easier to go sell somebody that's engaged with your brand and come to you than it is to call somebody up out of the blue and say, hey, come buy something from me.
Yeah. So going back to this Force Factor, can we see what network he's running on, how long they've been running, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we go back into Force Factor, it's the same way. We just go into traffic sources and take a look at it.
Okay.
Everything's all linked together.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
So then we could say, they're Guyism, they're running on Guyism, and then we could click into Guyism and we would see who are all the other advertisers there. Who's selling it? Well, most of it's through 247 Real Media.
Okay.
Oh,
interesting.
We'll do all that.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
And then again, if I'm here, I see Force Factor here. If I see Norden, I could click into Norden. Everything, you can click through everything. So I could click back into Norden. I could go, and now all of a sudden I'm looking at Norden's advertising.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so, it's really helpful how the reporting, you can just click around like that.
Now really, again, this is just from your own experience, Max. I know from hearing you on Mixergy and from other places that you've been very successful in media buying. I think at one point you're saying you made like 20 G's a day, which is incredible. As a startup with limited funds, what is it? Can somebody make a dent with a $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 monthly spend? I mean, can they really?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you talk about myself, when I started to spend on media, I didn't start spending. I didn't just start going. I said, "Here's $10,000. Let me go spend this right now."
Right.
You start small and you build up. So what I would do with that kind of limited budget.
Say I'm a scrappy startup. It's me and Jeff. We're sitting around in our basement. We've quit our jobs. We've got like 10 grand left or 15 grand, and we need to get out there. We need to get some traction, and then eventually we want to get a VC to fund us. But we need to show the VC that we're able to acquire customers and we're like making money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully your customers are paying you something, and you're not. If you have $10,000,
no, we got a paid product. We got a monthly paid product of some form, and we just got to somehow get enough of these guys.
Easy. Well, then you know what your customer's monthly value is, and you'll eventually figure out a lifetime value.
Yeah.
But if you can look at your competition, what they're doing, and also just use remarketing to take advantage of people that have already come and engaged with your product, to go out and create great ads and find sites that target them. At the very beginning, if you can do limited tests of $100, $200, $300 a website, you can test a whole bunch of different sites.
Okay.
And you will get some. It's not like you're just throwing that money down the drain. You will get paid conversions out of it.
Yeah.
And if you figure out the ones that, let's say that you charge $50 a month for your service.
All right, let's say. Yeah.
Now, if you can find a website that you can buy those conversions for, your advertisers is really working there, and you can get them at $20 a conversion.
Okay.
You're making $30 a conversion there, so you can use that money to keep funding your advertising and funding your company's growth and development while showing traction at the same time.
Gotcha. So a lot of guys, I'm speaking for myself and other guys I meet out there. They kind of want to tinker with the product. They kind of want to tinker with the site, and they want to tinker, and they're not taking the bets that they need to try to get some traffic to convert. They're like, we call that
Duke Nukem syndrome, where you just We're just constantly tinkering. We're guilty of that a bit with our product as well.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, we all get caught behind our computers. We want to like tinker with it, and I'm like, man, we got to get out of this whole tinkering business. I tell Jeff all the time, I kind of want to make our site better, that better, but we need to get out there and we need to get paying customers. So with the limited funds, you're saying retargeting is our best friend?
Is your absolute best friend, because think about it, you're going to pay a premium, but you're going to show advertising only to people that have come to your website before.
Okay.
And you can use What Runs Where to help create great ads that really speak to those people.
Okay.
And then put that to an audience where it doesn't matter where you buy. That person's already seen your brand and known your brand.
Right.
You're going to get some of your highest margins from there, because you're only, again, it's like collecting an email. It's like collecting, you're talking to somebody that already knows who you are.
Gotcha.
Right.
So if some startup guys that tend to be kind of on the programming side or tend to be on the design side, that they're not very familiar with the advertising technology like retargeting, what are some of the best resources? Like, should these guys be going to these trade shows? How did you learn about all this stuff, man?
How did I learn about all this stuff? Well, it was sort of a long and twisty path. But I showed up at my first ad tech trade show when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
Walked
15 years old, they let you in? Don't you have to be 18 and over to get in these trade shows?
I'm also 6'4", and I was 6'4" when I was 15. So,
That's awesome.
I look a little bit older because of that. But
wow.
I went there. I just talked to every single booth. I just wanted to learn more, not necessarily about anything. I just wanted to learn more about the space.
Okay. Yeah.
How it all works.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. I talked to a lot of startup guys, and one area that they seem to not know about is the marketing and the advertising technology. I think they tend to know a lot about the programming side and learn how to build like this cool technology, but not the marketing, advertising, stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone's talking about me. I like coming from the developer product end of the web.
Exactly. Jeff, you're a perfect use case in this area.
Marketing and advertising of it.
Going back to my face. Perfect.
There you go. Yeah, so you're saying going to AdTech. Any other conferences you recommend?
Well, I mean, I go to Affiliate Summit all the time, just because that's the space I came from. And then not necessarily conferences, but you can go to meetups in your local area, especially if you're in the Bay or one of those hot tech cities. There are always tech meetups to go to.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm happy to talk with anybody, because it's not about what I can teach them, but it's about what I can learn from you. Okay. So you and I may not work in the same business. If I can go and pick the brains of a guy that runs an oil company, he may not do anything in online advertising, but there's certain basics and principles that he knows I can apply to my own startup.
Gotcha. No, that's good advice, man. So any startup founders, developers listening to this, go to AdTech. Go to Affiliate Summit.
AdTech's a good one. We'll be at AdTech if you want to come say hi in San Francisco.
You know what? We might have to go, Jeff. What do you say?
Talking about that, yeah, it'd be a little drive for us up the coast. I noticed you guys have an office here in San Diego, right?
We do. So that my partner runs our development office out of San Diego. I run our office here in Toronto. It's a beautiful place to be. Oh, it's a great place to be.
Also a beautiful place
to be.
And
then
in Toronto.
I'll tell you guys a story. The first time I came, we booked a hotel through Hotwire, and I got a hotel. There's a hotel there in I think Mission Bay with a water slide in it. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to stray too much from the topic, so I think that does it for our show today, guys. So if you want to reach Max, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Max?
Anybody can email me. My email is max, @whatrunswhere.com.
Okay.
And I'm happy to talk to anybody.
Great. So if you got a new startup and you've got your product, it's not perfect and it's just okay, that's fine. You need to get customers. You need to convert. You need to convince the VCs that you got a funnel that's working. Email Max. Let him know what you got going on. Maybe he can help you with.
And it looks like they got a great deal. Yeah.
Looks
like you guys got that deal going on for $1. Everyone can get started, right? And you guys even have
you can try it out, and hopefully we help you. And if it's not the right time for you, hopefully you come back later. The one thing to say about, and the one last part you said, just sort of jogged it. As a startup, I would never be worried about releasing a really ugly product or even a bad product. because it's sort of inherently, if you're able to communicate to your customers that, hey, we're working on this, improving it, as long as you can show constant improvement of your product through time, people will stick with you and they'll feel more loyal to you because they've been through that journey with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
So,
so for those that are the perfectionists out there, myself included, just release, just ship, no matter how fugly it is. All right, cool. Well, thanks again, Max. I'm hoping to actually make it to AdTech, and maybe we'll get a chance to meet in person.
Absolutely perfect. Let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Thanks for your time. I feel a lot smarter after this conversation. Hopefully, a lot of developers and people sitting in my seat are feeling the same way.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Hopefully.
Catch you next time, guys.